What's up, guys? It's Lawrence with Maximum Freight, and I'm going to cover a Reddit topic today. The title of it is "Logistics Sucks," which um, this guy's not entirely wrong. A lot of times it does suck, but I'm going to read. I'm going to paraphrase what he's saying. But basically, this guy, he's a young guy, recent college grad. He took a job with DHL as a supply chain operations supervisor, and I guess he's a little bit disappointed in the job. He's working a lot of hours, 50 hours a week. He's working with people a lot older than him, and I guess he's saying this is a part I'm going to cover, but he's saying that he's a recent college grad and he's a little bit disappointed that it didn't prepare him for the real world, especially his particular job and place of or choice of employment. And management's undergoing a big shift, and he doesn't really feel like he was properly trained. He feels like he was just thrown in there, and he just, I guess, he feels like he envisioned a job in logistics to be a little bit more analytical, and he feels it's a little bit more blue collar and just kind of like rough around the edges. And his ultimate career goal is, I guess, doing something a little bit more analytical, but they all require like 5 years of experience. So he's looking for advice. Now, this is an interesting question because um, there's a couple things I want to say here. For one thing, that's what logistics is. There's absolutely no kind of training you can do, or not training, but education that you can partake in, or a book that you can read, or video that you can watch that can train you for logistics. Logistics is its own animal. It is different every day. It's frustrating. It is probably problem solving and complexity at its highest level. It's extremely complex, and so I think he's saying that he feels that it's like it's like blue collar because he's just basically like, I imagine, as an operations manager. That was my position before me, Max, and Merrick ultimately start our own freight company. But that's what we did. We were pretty much either import, export, just general operations managers, and that's what it is. It's literally just very rough around the edges work. Maybe not in the physical sense, but in the sense that, like, yes, you are just collecting data, tracking data, answering emails, and then like making sure a specific process is followed every single time. And when it's not, it's your job to kind of go in there and fix it. And it does feel very routine. It feels very, can feel stagnant. Sometimes it can feel frustrating. It's definitely not like I don't know, like maybe you envision sitting in front of a computer like the Matrix, and you're analyzing data, and you're like, oh, and like using like technical jargon and stuff. It it is that to an extent in terms of like technical jargon and knowing like certain terms and stuff, but it's monotonous. It can definitely get boring. The other part is he's saying that I think he was hoping for something that was like, I don't know, more analytical, a little bit more in depth. The truth of the matter is that in the first 5 years of your logistics career, it really is just kind of rough. You kind of have to get, for lack of a better term, broken in. You kind of have to get a feel for like the problem solving and almost find like a rhythm within the industry to see where you land. Only after, I don't know if it takes a total of 5 years. It depends on how much experience and exposure you get, but I would say at least within 3 years, you'll get kind of like broken in and kind of get used to putting out fires and stuff like that. You kind of have to go through that process first before you find like a niche that you really settle into. Um, I guess he's asking like what advice that he could do to. I don't really think there's any specific advice. I think actually what he's doing is perfect. He's working long hours, getting a lot of experience. The thing that I always tell people if they want to advance in the, this is really for any industry, but specifically for logistics, is you have to do a lot. You have to like get your hands dirty in as many things as possible, especially when early on. What you don't want to do is stay in one particular field. Some people do this. They're like, well, I'm just going to do imports, or I'm just going to do air or ocean, or I'm just going to do LCL or FCL or full truckload, less than truckload. They only want to stick to one thing. And if you do that for like 5 years straight, the problem is it's kind of hard to move around and fit into other parts of logistics. And the industry of logistics is like a very broad industry. There's a lot of things you can go into. So the more things you can do early on in your career, the better the chances are that you do fall into a position that's going to be a little bit more, maybe upper management, maybe like specialized, like a projects manager. To become a higher manager or a projects manager, you do need to have a lot of specialized experience. What people are really going to look for if you're looking for those jobs is, do you have the ability to problem solve? Have you faced a conflict in a situation in which you really had to do some high level thinking, and were you able to, remain calm and reserved, and were you diligent and resourceful in solving those problems? College is not going to prepare you for that. College is just like, I got a degree in business management from Rutgers, and it's worthless. Like, especially in logistics, it's worthless everywhere, but in logistics, it's like especially worthless. Some logistics is trial by fire. He says in here, that he feels like he was just thrown in and hope for the best. That's literally what logistics training is. Like, they could sit side by side with you and like go over stuff. It's useless, man. You have to go in there and like be frustrated, be angry, have vendors that drop the ball, find replacements, deal with customers that are difficult, not submitting docs right, or having like requests that are not reasonable, and you got to deal with employees and coworkers that are not always going to be the best partners, right? They're just, that's life. That's logistics. Logistics is literally trying to get something from point A to point B, with a lot of things trying to pull that particular goal off its course. So I think he's just frustrated because he's in his first beginning phases of logistics, and that's like the hardest phase. It probably is for any industry. But if I were to give him any advice, is you just hang in there. Don't be frustrated. Understand that every time you are frustrated and you're going through something complicated, that's actually just growth. And to actually continue to look for more challenges. And before you know it, a couple years, 3 years will go by. I'd probably look, DHL's like really corporate. So I don't know, it's kind of tough to like shift around, but they might hire within to expose them to different departments and areas. But if not, go to other fields, go to other companies, and try to get as much experience as you can and soak it all in. Um, and that's that. Just live the life and try to enjoy it as a learning experience. I don't think he's doing anything wrong. I think logistics does definitely suck sometimes, but it'll teach you. It's the best teacher. It'll make you an excellent problem solver, and those skills are applicable through like so many other facets of life and business. So I hope that helps. I'll continue to cover these little short questions on social media and Reddit, and hope you guys enjoy.